Cam Radio, it's Tony G, Big Lou. It is Tuesday night. The sports book on KM Radio. Lots to talk about. College basketball, pro basketball. There's a little bit of NFL going on. There's all kind of stuff. But before we start off, I want to thank everyone and get them on the same page, as they say. So, like we always tell you, like we have people that help the show, help the radio station. That's why we always call them out. Like our guys, Big Robbie's at 2766 Barksdale Boulevard. Go in, tell them, if you've ever been there, go in, tell them, hey, Tony G and Big Lou from the Sports Book, KM Radio. That's the kind of stuff that really helps us. If you want to help us, that would help us just by mentioning our name. So they go, yeah, we sponsor the show, or we back the show, and this way they see that it's coming back to them. And then you got SI Motorsports at I think it's 95 Benton Road. It's at the beginning of Benton Road. They do all your performance. They do tires. They do rims. They do lifts. I think they do have some music. They have a front end machine. I mean, it's a I call it not a mechanic shop, but like a performance mechanic shop. Ask for Jason or ask for Wes. Tell them Tony G and Big Lou from the Sports Book. I mean, like I said, if you can, just mention us. Put in a word, just like our guys over at Once Upon a Diamond. Jordan and his whole family. Go over there, take a look around. You ain't got to buy anything, but as long as you mentioned that you saw it on the sports book, heard it on the sports book by Tony G or Big Lou, that just kind of puts in a good word with us. We're trying to promote. These are all locally owned businesses. It's all about keeping it in. And don't forget, there was a big storm last night. A lot of hail all over town. Pines Road, Mansfield Road, Houghton. Our guys over there at Stiper Solar and Roofing. Their number is 318-536-3281. Tell them, hey, I heard this on the sports book. You guys, they do great work. They do full construction, roofing, you name it, they do it. Look them up. They got a 5-star rating. I think they even have financing. Go over there, check it out. I know I've talked to them the other day. I know they're giving out free estimates with all the storm. They got guys in the areas. So, like I said, all this is kind of all of us working together, kind of helping each other. That's kind of what it's all about. And like I said, if you guys have anything that that you want to talk about, you want to become a member, you want to back the show, the radio station, 318-221-5422 is the number. There's people there, I don't know, 12 hours out of the day. I think it's the answering. You might get answering service at the evening, but man, from 9 o'clock to 7 o'clock, there's somebody that will answer that phone. That's the station. And again, they have advertisement teams. They do commercials. They do radio, digital radio, cable TV. I mean, somebody was asking me the other day, like, well, why would I do that? And I was like, you can advertise on YouTube TV. They're like, you can? And I was like, yeah, you can. Anywhere you see a commercial, yeah, you can see wherever. It don't even matter what you're streaming or whatever. You can. If there's local commercials on there, and you can get in there. Target your marketing, as we say. Okay, let's get into the business, man. Lou, like I said, I had a good week last week. Got a feeling myself, and I got away from the sports book. I like to risk 10% of my bank. Some people have a different, but it's just called bank management. And I was foolish. I got stunned like Rick Pitino probably was when St. John's lost, because they didn't look like they were. I don't know. They weren't moving. They weren't hitting on all cylinders. That's for sure.
Right. They didn't look like they was prepared for the they didn't look like they was prepared for what was about to happen, or for the moment, in other words.
And that's very rare for Rick Pitino team. It doesn't even go, it's like that's not he is a perfectionist kind of a guy.
Right.
So that was
no, go ahead, Tony. I'm pulling up the bracket now.
Which was interesting. And then you had that was what I lost that straight up. Went
number
on
10 Arkansas.
Yeah, number 10 Arkansas. And lost on the Houston. and and that's why I always say, nothing's a given. I do
No.
like to take away. Me and Lou like to take away the hook because the hook got me. Definitely got me. So you had. Let's see what we got. Creighton. So let's go down.
I
Um.
definitely took Illinois. I don't know why I felt like Kentucky wasn't going to win that game, but I
Uh.
took Illinois in that game and it bit me. It bit me.
Yeah. Hey, what about Mississippi? Beating. Yeah. Yeah. Illinois. Yeah. I don't. I mean, that was. I think. I
And they
think.
beated them handedly.
Yeah. They
That's
beat
what
them
that's
handily.
what shocks me. Like, I could take a loss from a higher ranked team if the game was tight.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, these guys played their hearts out. It was just their season. But to see 91 to 78, that means that they weren't in the game at any time.
Correct.
And for Iowa State to be ranked, but the SEC, the basketball has been strong this season. So yeah, but that's another one. That's another one that killed me. That's why I only do one bracket because I can't take the I can't take the pain like four or
Yeah.
five times in a row. And so yeah, but that was my shocker. The Ole Miss over Iowa State. I thought Iowa State was going to not just ramshack them, but I just thought that it would be a close game, and if oh it would have been a closer game. I just thought the game would have been closer. If they would have took an L, I probably would say anywhere between five, three, close game like 5 points,
Yeah.
something like that. Not like this. So yeah. So kudos to Iowa State. I mean, kudos to Ole Miss for showing up in that game and getting it done.
Dude, I'll tell you another one that I watched. It wasn't the main, it was off to the side. I was watching Colorado and Maryland. Colorado was
Yes.
I mean, they had a chance to rock it, man. I mean, they lost by 1 point.
Yeah.
They were a number
Mm,
12 seed. They're playing a four. They lost by one. I mean,
mm.
so they put in a good now what was I trying to see? Yeah, Arkansas St. John's. That was like I said, my hat's off to Arkansas for coming in and playing. I mean, now they got to
Yeah.
go and they're going to play a number three Texas Tech team.
Texas Tech.
Eh,
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge for them guys.
It's going to be, but Arkansas pulled one. They could pull a second one.
Hmm. If they come with the same intensity and the same drive, like, look, we belong here. We're supposed to be here, and we're going to see this thing all the way through. If they can
Yeah.
have that attitude, and there's no stopping them. They can go all the way.
What do you think about Michigan State and who is that? Who are they playing? Michigan State. Are they playing
Uh,
Mich?
Michigan State, they're playing Ole Miss in the next round.
Okay, that's what I was looking at. I was trying to zoom in. I
They
zoomed out.
played against number 10 New Mexico, and they hung in
Yeah,
there a little bit. It was 71-63, but now they have to go up against number 6 Ole Miss.
yeah.
So
And then you got
that should be a great game.
yes, the Florida and Maryland was going to be a good game, but I think I mean they could be. I mean don't get me wrong, they could be beat, but I think Florida's going to
Mhm.
be a little too much for. Um, and I got to look at the. Let me see. I got so much. I got things all around me, computers
That's why
and phones. Oh,
that's our
that's what we
job. We
do.
we
Yeah,
that's what we do.
I want to see the spread
Mhm.
on. Let me see that. That's what kind of got me. Let's go to. Okay, so Maryland and Florida is 6.5. All right,
Okay.
Texas Tech and Arkansas is 5.5. And I'm not. I wouldn't. I like Arkansas with
Ooh.
5.5. It could be a
Ooh.
tight game. It really could be if they're still in it at the I mean, if they're still in it at the half, I think um, they got a shot because they were playing so tough against St. John's.
Oh
They
yeah.
were up. I mean, they were up. They handled the game. They're in control. They weren't afraid. They weren't, that's um, it definitely can be. I mean, I'm gonna give you another one that I think is gonna be tough, and you got to
Mhm.
watch them. Is the Boilermakers, Purdue? Don't
Oh
overlook them.
yeah.
Yeah, I know they're playing
Don't sleep
Houston.
on
Yeah,
Purdue, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, because they're getting 8 points, and I like Purdue with 8 points.
I
I even
like
like, let me
Purdue in
say,
that. I like Purdue in that game as well.
if you take if you move Purdue to 9.5, it puts you at so that gives you 10 points.
Mhm.
It puts you at -146. That's not you bet 100 to win. Yeah, that's not terrible. I've seen worse. I know everybody wants the 110. I mean, you don't always get that kind of vig.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good game too. That's for and this is all gonna be when's the next round start? Two, four,
Next
six,
round,
8. So we're in the
it's
Sweet 16 right now.
yeah, we're in the Sweet 16 right now. Let me and most
Because
of the
these games,
games, the Florida, Maryland, Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Arkansas, Arizona, BYU, and Alabama. Those games are on March 27th. So those games are airing March 27th, um, 6 p.m. or 6:09 p.m. All right. And the games that air on the 28th are going to be Auburn, Michigan, Ole Miss, Michigan State, um, Purdue and Houston. That's going to be a late game. It's going to come on at
okay.
9 at night. And you got Tennessee and Kentucky. Now the Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, BYU. Those two games are going to be on at 6.
Okay.
BYU and Alabama is your first game at 6, and then you got Kentucky, Tennessee starting at 6:39. Both Texas Tech, Arkansas, and BYU and take that back.
Bama.
BYU and Bama plays March 27th at 6. And then you got Arizona
That's
Duke at 8.
Thursday.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Thursday. And Friday, uh, you're gonna have Tennessee, Kentucky at 6:39, and then your Houston, Purdue, and your Arkansas, Texas Tech are both starting at 9:09 p.m.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to change. So did you see? All right. I want to make sure 189. Now, did you watch any of the Duke game? Duke looks pretty tough. I think Florida may be the better team, but Duke's tough.
Mhm.
That
Duke's
kid's
tough.
bad. Yeah,
And
that
if
kid.
Cooper Flag is on the court, Florida is going to have some problems if they run into him. If they run into him the next round, they're going to have some
How
they're
tall
going to
is
have some issues.
how tall is he?
Let me see. Let me get some stats on this guy.
Is he going to the draft this year?
That I'm not sure of. I had to
I have to
he's
check that
six
out and see.
nine. Yeah, 6'9", 205 pounds. His
Okay,
season stats: 18.7 points, 7.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists. His field goal percentage is 48.8. So he's pretty good shooter.
pretty pretty good. He's a pretty good shooter. I'll say.
He's
Yeah,
pretty good. Pretty good. 48.8%. I can rock with that.
I like. Yeah, that's yeah. Well, no, well, he's definitely gonna have to put on some weight to go to the NBA. He could have
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's gonna have to
he-
get some girth on him. And then
yeah,
and with the conditioning and the training
yeah,
on that stage, he should be able to pick up some he should be able to bulk up. No problem. They'll get him in
yeah,
that weight room and get some weight on him because they're just gonna push him around.
yeah.
And
Well, yeah. In
and
the
I
NBA,
thought I
yeah.
right, because I thought that was an issue that Chet was gonna have.
Oh,
Him and Wimby, because they're long guys, but they're thin guys.
they are. Yeah, they are
But
very. They are very.
Chet more
Yeah,
than Wimby. I thought Wimby
yeah,
was gonna be okay, but I thought Chet was a little, on the lighter side of things. I thought he's need to get a little weight on him. But he seems to be doing great, even though, but that's part of the NBA. And when you're first coming in, your body has to get used to that type of the type of grind. I think a lot of people don't pay homage to players like that. With you understand that they play 82 games in a season. Some, then you're always traveling, and all that
yeah.
has to factor in. So uh, uh, uh there has to be a certain level of discipline you have to do that. Because I feel like some fans don't give basketball players respect because their game's non-contact. It's very much contact,
Very much
and
contact is
you're running up and down the field. I mean, up and down the court consistently. As football, offense and defense get to come off the field for a little while. Well, some of them do,
right, right,
but NBA doesn't matter. You're playing both offense and defense, so
right.
it's a very demanding sport, and you got to have some stamina to play that game.
So nothing to take away from Zana playing Duke. I mean, that's um going to be a good game. It's 1-4. Hey, they could things could happen. You never know. And you got
Mm-hmm.
BYU playing Bama. BYU is a 6 seed. They beat Wisconsin, um,
Mm-hmm.
which was pretty darn impressive.
Pretty
Um,
pretty impressive.
and Bama's got a good team. I think that's let me see. Oh, Bama's it's a 5 point game. It's not. I mean, it's doable. 5 point game, 175. What I would tell you one thing that's cool about overs with with college basketball is you have your like when you go to the half, then you got one half left. You ain't got 4 quarters, and a lot of times you can get lucky with them over unders. Um, because sometimes they'll be slow to change the number. You might be able to catch a break. Uh,
Right.
on it by watching it by betting live. That's one of the advantages of betting live. But again, betting live is you're looking and watching and talking and going, okay, look at that. That's part of the that is part of the deal. Um, and let me pull that up. Arkansas Tech, yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. That's Thursday, 9:09. Yeah. Oh, I mean, these are all going to be good games. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I see. Let me see. Yeah, Purdue, Houston, Michigan, Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ole Miss. Who do you think has? I really, I mean, and I know I'm probably going to make somebody mad, but I think Florida and Duke are the two front runners for me. Um, to me,
I can agree with
uh,
that. I can agree
yeah,
with that.
yeah. And then there's some
They're
other,
the front
you
runners
could,
for.
yeah,
And you
but
can,
they to me,
you can argue the Michigan States, the Michigans,
yeah, 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 yeah. You could, I
the
mean, you could,
yeah, you could argue the Bama, you could argue that Arizona, you could argue that point, but I'm with you on this one. I feel like Florida and Duke are the front runners, and everybody else,
yeah.
and that's not to say that everybody else are tiers below them. No, we're not saying that.
No,
We're just
no,
saying
not at
that
all.
we feel that these are the two teams that everybody else is going to be chasing. They're going to be the hierarchy, so to speak. And then, but if they get beat, they get beat. and I will give them, and if they do get beat, I'm not going to find any excuses for them. I'm going to give the team that beat them all the flowers because,
Oh, absolutely.
they
Yeah,
deserve it. But
yeah. And
yeah,
the
but just for
SEC's.
the hypothetical of the bracket, I'm in agreement with you that those two teams are the front runners. And then
Yeah,
you could
I mean,
just
there's. I
go
mean,
and you could just go whatever, whatever tier. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know who you think are the two-tier teams. Let us know. And next episode we'll read it on the next episode, and we'll see if you guys were right or not.
the because I know the SEC is coming hard all of a sudden in men's basketball. They're definitely. Um, so you got bad. There's just a lot. Like I said, this was the year that the SEC had what 14 teams in there, most they've
Yes.
ever
Yes.
had.
It was the
Um,
SEC run this year.
yeah, it really was. It definitely. And then last week somebody corrected us. McNeese is down south. That was our only team from Louisiana.
Magnice. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's down
McNeese.
south.
I should have been.
I
Yeah, yeah,
just because I see them, they'll come across my timeline every now and then, and if they're playing, I'll try to watch some of the game just to get more familiar with
yeah,
them. But
yeah.
I didn't. But South Louisiana.
Yeah,
Thank you, thank
South
you very
Louisiana.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you
Oh,
very
it's
much,
all.
Armin.
It's
We
all.
appreciate that.
Yeah, we like that. And then over in well, and you got Auburn number
Mhm.
one. They're number. Well, there's a bunch of number one, and they're playing Michigan. That's going to be a. That's going to be a. Let's see, what we got there. I think I already said it, but Ole Miss, Michigan. No, Auburn. I said Auburn. Auburn obviously is the favorite because they're number one seed. Michigan's number five, and the points are 8.5. If Auburn can come out in the game and start on the dominance, then they'll definitely, like me and Lou always say, that's one thing that makes the tournament so fun is it's one and done. And there's nothing else.
One
I
and
mean, you
done.
can't one and done. And believe me, there has
Mhm.
been some miracle things in the years that have passed, which makes it fun to watch, especially with the smaller schools. Um,
Mhm.
because it's a lot. It's just like the same thing when I said about, hey, mentioned that it's a lot for a small school to make a run. I'm not even saying win it.
Right.
I'm saying make a run.
Just
Go
make
to
a
the
run.
16.
Yeah,
Yeah, make it
because
to the final eight.
ma-
That's
yeah,
that's huge.
it's
That's a
quite
huge thing
impressive
for them.
because because
Yeah.
the Sweet 16 is the meat and potatoes of all of the teams that have played throughout the season that have played in this tournament. When you get to the Sweet 16, okay, now it's time. This is like the second round of the playoffs. It's like, okay,
Yes.
now we have the meat and
That is
potatoes, and we're going to see, who's going to come out, who's going to reign supreme uh, out of this grouping.
right.
So
Right.
kudos,
They
kudos to all of the guys that made it to the Sweet 16. We've wished nothing but the best for all the teams, but you got to bring your
and
A
the
game
ladies
because
got to
yeah,
bring her.
and the
We
ladies
didn't
as
talk about the
well.
ladies, but yeah, the ladies too. We
It's,
don't want to leave
we
them
didn't
out.
we didn't we didn't talk
Yeah.
about the ladies, but we're not going to leave them out. Where would
Yeah.
we
You
be
gotta give.
without you?
There you go. Yeah, because this is huge for the IR deal. You know what I mean? Now, every people, making. That's one kind of cool thing about that is that now under these lights, um, that these kids will get to have an opportunity to make some money. Some will make more than others, but at least they'll have something, whatever it may be. I know
Right.
one of the small schools, it was a football team, and it was like a D3. They worked out a deal that the team ate there every Friday for free, which is cool. I mean,
That
it
is
was a nice
awesome.
restaurant. Yeah, and they put
Yeah.
just different deals they put together. Not necessarily money, but just like, hey, you could come eat here, and the restaurant got to be put on their banner or whatever it may be, and
Right.
it's a win-win. I mean, that's advertisement helps everything.
Mhm.
People got to know where you're at, and it's the same thing with Same thing with March Madness is, these small schools, they get an opportunity for people to see because a lot of these small schools do not get the attention. They just don't. The big guys
No.
get all the attention. There's some
Hmm.
schools that you just go, God, where's that school? Oh, that's over here, and they're like, oh, okay, because to give it, put it in perspective, that would be like because Centenary has an opportunity that they could actually go to March Madness. You know
Right.
what I mean? They play in they play in the same conference or they used to as NSU. So you could actually see a team which a very small school, Centenary, very good school, but that's a very
Hmm.
small school for them to make the tournament would be a big deal. Um,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
any of them, yeah. So that being said, hey, that's why we love it. It's one and done. Got a lot of great stuff coming up on the show. We get back where there's a lot of NBA cover some bets, some prop bets, like we did last week, and then I had some questions from I had some questions from some people that were like, well, about the live betting, there, and I said that's no problem. I said, well, we'll
Ah,
talk about it on the show, and we'll go into details and stuff. But we got the Lakers to talk about. Um, you got Cleveland lost two. Oklahoma shooting lights out.
oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah, lights out. And then you got a couple teams that are surging.
Hmm.
Memphis is kind of getting their stuff together. The Timberwolves
Right.
they're fighting. So we got a lot. We got a whole bunch to talk about when we get back. But again, I just wanted to tell everyone thanks to all our sponsors and everybody. It always feels like you're always thanking. I got to, what I mean? Without
You
all
have
these
to.
people from these people that back the show, the people at the stadium, at the station, they help it all. They make it all go, and that's the name of the game. Without them, there ain't none of us. So, but yeah, make sure you guys check us out every Tuesday night. You can check us out. You got YouTube TV? Put it in right there. Boom, 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 and then there we're our episode. And once you start, and the good thing about YouTube TV, once you start watching us, it follows what you watch, and it'll be on your because that's just like on the YouTube. And the YouTube TV
Hmm.
is a little different, but YouTube, I mean, I got YouTube and a YouTube TV. You switch from back and
Right.
forth, which I think is really,
Hmm.
really cool because you have access to all kind of files on everything. I mean, car automotive
Right.
and music and just and so much stuff on gambling and horse race, just off sports. It's kind of crazy. All right, guys,
Hmm.
we'll be back second half. We're gonna be talking some NBA. All right, guys, Tony G, Big Lou, the Sports Book on KM Radio, where we go. Man.
Hell.
Tony G, Big Lou, the Sports Book every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. KM Radio. Listen to us there. Watch us on Facebook. Not Facebook. Watch us on YouTube. I'm sorry. Um, Lots to talk about NBA. Had some people reach out and were asking me about betting live and stuff. And
Hmm.
like I always tell everyone, like me and Lou always say, like last week I was on a run and then I got handed to me with the St. John's loss. Houston didn't cover the spread. So I like to be very honest. Like, man, I win sometimes, and sometimes I lose. I keep try to keep my bankroll. I like doing a 10%, but I went over that substantially, and it cost me. And I knew when I did it, I said, "Man, this is going to come back to haunt me." And then I did it once, and then I did it twice because I said, "Well, man, the Houston Cougars are going to cover this spread," and they didn't.
Right.
And I like taking the hook out, and I didn't because all I had to do was, and I was looking at it, I was like willing to give up some vig on it, going, and I didn't. So it's just kind of one of those things. So let's go into betting live. Betting live
Okay.
is obviously betting live on a game, and you just got to kind of watch if there's a couple games on, and if you whatever site you're on, or if you use there's people that have. I mean, there's people that have MGM, Caesars, FanDuel, DraftKings, whichever. And if you notice, if you do have them all, I only have two. The lines are usually different. They're just different.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You may be at 110 minus over here, 130 over here, just going. But if you're going to bet live, there is money to be made. You got to be paying attention. Game, computer, watching what they're doing, because sometimes when you bet live, you got to be quick. They may leave the
Hmm.
they may leave the under over may be still on there late in the game, and you can get it, and you're like, well, man, they need 50 points in 3 minutes. Well, the odds of that are very slim in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? But you have to be paying
Right.
attention. You can't. Yeah, that's the name of the game of betting live is you got to be paying attention, watching the game, watching the kind of give you a feel. And that's how
Mhm.
we do it. I mean, everyone has their own way. They say we were experts. We just try to have some money, um, win a little bit of money. Gotcha. All right, so let's go to the NBA.
Mm.
So the Cavs lost a couple. Uh, they're 57-14, still a great
Mhm.
season. Boston's within five, but there's only six, seven, 10 games left. So
Yep. 10
roughly
games.
10 games left. So, I mean, it's possible that Boston could catch them, but I don't think that it will. But they lost. They still, like I said, they're at 803 percentage, and Boston's right there. I think Boston is peaking at the right time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, they're 9-1 the last 10. Um, Cleveland 6-4, but Cleveland went on a 15-game winning streak. They were
Yeah.
they were they
Yeah,
were they were
they were just locked in for which
they
is
were.
good, which is good because it puts them comfortably in the number one seed. So kudos
So
to them.
yeah, no doubt. And like I said, the way Boston's playing, and then you got the Knicks. The Knicks kind of they went 4-6 last 10. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. They may not hitting on all cylinders. I mean, I know it's the late part of the season. I know right now is when you want to be on fire. Um, I'm sure they'll be able to. I'm sure they'll be able to pull it together. They've been playing good. Indiana is in. See, I feel like New York, Indiana, Milwaukee, and Detroit are very, very closely connected. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's um, um, they're right there, and I think Boston and Cleveland are that upper upper stop
Yeah. Yeah,
upper upper team, yeah, upper
the upper
echelon,
tier. Yeah, the
yeah,
upper
upper tier,
echelon, and then you got everybody else battling for third place.
yeah,
Now
right, you got.
with um with Milwaukee, do you think it's coaching?
I don't know because they just don't seem to be playing well, and I mean
I can't
at
I can't put my finger on what exactly is wrong with them because it
but
seems like
something.
they should it seems like they should be like right there. They're not that far removed from winning a championship. And to
No, they're
see
they're
yeah,
not.
and to see now I know they lost one of their key players that was coming off the bench for them. But you got a Dame there, you got Giannis there, and and you got some pieces, but I just feel like they should be further up. They should be where New York is. They should be third. But that's just
Yeah,
me personally. But I think
yeah,
I feel like they should be third because they've been to the dance. So, and they haven't lost a lot. They've lost their coaching. They lost their
yeah,
coaching.
yeah,
But other than
and
that, and everybody has a jury out on Doc Rivers. They feel like he's coming up short. His Detroit stint um hasn't won
true.
since the Celtics big three, but I'm not sure what's going on there. There's a hole there. If I feel like that team should be better than they are. I
if
mean,
you
they're the
look
fifth seed, which is not bad, but I feel like they should be in that third seed. They should be in
if
that
you
third seed.
if you look at New York, Indiana, and Milwaukee, and even really Detroit,
Even Detroit,
um,
right?
they're only 4 games from each other. I mean, Milwaukee's won 40 games; they've lost 30. They're only 10 games over 500, and the Indiana's 41-29, and New York Knicks are so New York's got 4 more wins than they do. I think you might be onto something with the coaching. Obviously, it's something because I feel like they should have been. Um, and I feel like they should have been more aggressive picking them up some more people. I
Right.
think that, um, but yeah, there it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, provided no injuries. I mean, New York, Indiana, Milwaukee, either one of them, and I know Detroit's right there. Um,
Hmm.
they can spoil somebody's. They could spoil somebody's um series. I don't put it. I mean, they would have to get on an unbelievable run
Hmm.
at um for me to think that they honestly could beat Boston or Cleveland because
Right.
one of the lower tiers might have to beat them both. You know what I mean? You might play
Yeah.
Boston, you got to beat Boston, then you got to go and beat Cleveland, which I think is a lot to ask, a real lot to ask. Um, so yeah, that's kind of I'm just kind of lost of where I'm just looking at stuff. Um,
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting with the Bucks. It's interesting.
yeah,
I
it's definitely
I feel
yeah,
like they should be better than and I'm not taking nothing away, but at the same time, I just have this feeling like they should be higher. But the team should play better.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I thought the last couple of years was a little bit like hmm, kind of like
Yeah, like
they won the championship. That was great. Um, and I mean they're still a good team. They're still been right there. It
yeah,
ain't like they've fallen
yeah.
apart. Yeah. So that's and then you go on the other side, you go to Western Conference and
Hmm.
Oklahoma City. Uh, holy cow! I mean they're shooting. They're going to end up with the best record in basketball. It looks like 59
Hmm.
12. The
Hmm.
last 10, they had a 9 game winning streak. The what's his name? What's his name? Alexander. I mean, I think he averages 30,
Yeah, Shea
30.
Gilgis. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's another one. The only problem with him is when you bet him on the prop line, in fact, they'll try to kill you. They'll try to put him at like 32 minus 125. And it's like, that's a lot. I mean, I
Hmm.
know he can score, but that's a lot. That's a lot of points. And they were doing that with Yoka for
Hmm.
LA. Um,
With Luca.
um,
Yeah.
Luca, I said Yoka. They were doing the same thing. I mean, when he first came to the Lakers, it was like 17-20. And then every time, because they were hot and it just
Hmm.
kept going up. You know, I mean, it was like, well, he needs 28 tonight. This is for a decent vig. You can change the line, but you give up a lot on the that and assist. I love assist. Um,
Hmm.
so Oklahoma was definitely by far in the regular season the best team in the Western Conference. There's no doubt.
Right.
Houston is right there with Denver, and see, it's another deadlock of the there. Well, the only thing that's different is there's one elite team, and then there's two,
Hmm.
three, four, five, and the Golden State's in there. I don't know exactly how they're in the six. I mean, I know they're playing. I mean, I know they've won on an 8-2 run, and I know Steph was hurt. We took him one night. He just didn't look right. He had a couple
Yeah.
games that he wasn't. But Jimmy being there is a great. Jimmy being there is great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. They have a
if
floor
they,
general.
yeah, and if they tweaked it and got one more, I don't mean I'm not saying like a super, but maybe if they got a big or something, what I
Yeah.
mean, it kind of mixed into.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Or
could
a
be a number two
long
big.
wing
Yeah,
player. Yeah.
yeah,
Or a long
yeah.
wing player. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Memphis, and they're kind of I don't know. I think the last 10 they're 5-5, but they're rolling there for a
Hmm.
minute, and then the Lakers were hot. All right, and then we had an injury,
Yeah.
um, and they still played well. Uh, Lost a couple. LeBron comes back. They got blown out. They
Right.
did get blown out. But hey, that's
Hmm.
just part of it. And I
Right.
think, I mean, honestly, I would be. You're in four. I know you don't want to. I guess you got to figure out who. I guess you're trying to. I guess you're trying to. You want to be on the least resistance. I get that, but I think
Right.
all the ways there is it's going to be a tough road. Um, and I hate to say this, Golden State's the only one that Golden State and the Lakers because of the big situation. My problem with
Hmm.
Memphis is I was watching them and you were pointing this out to me. Memphis is big.
Yeah.
Memphis is a big team. That's
Yeah.
no
They're a
joke.
big team. They should be.
Yeah.
They should be dominating,
Yeah,
especially
they
with
haven't got it
Ja.
together yet. Yeah. They
Yeah.
haven't
They
got it all
haven't.
together yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, that's a big team. And Denver's a big team. Oklahoma's a big team. Oklahoma's got some bigs. And they got
Hmm.
shooters. You know what I mean? They're shooting. They're really shooting. And some of the stuff you can watch and you can and that's why I always said is watch for your especially the live with the points. You know what I mean? And um sometimes they'll give you a good cash out, sometimes they won't. That's always hit or
Right.
miss. Don't rely on that. Um but there's definitely there's a lot that you could be playing on the live. But yeah, the Lakers, I don't know, like I said, they got a good shot and Luke has really made a big difference. There's no doubt about that. But it's going to be a long road for whoever. And man, the Dallas Mavs, holy cow,
Yeah.
they've
Just
wow,
injury riddled this season. And it's so unfortunate for them. So unfortunate,
yeah,
especially after this trade. It all went down after the trade. It all went downhill. So, of course, that GM's going to get all of the blame for this because of the fact, and like I said, it all started after the Western Conference Championship game, and they took the beer from him. It all
yeah,
started right there, and I feel like that move that uh the Mavericks made was more it's my team type. I have certain things that a certain way that I feel like you should act as a professional, and
right,
they just felt I think they just felt the wrong way with the whole him, having his weight issues and we got you on TV, drinking a beer, which is no problem by my standards. I mean, you got your franchise player there,
yeah,
but that's what makes me feel like it's an ego thing because your job is to put together a team that can bring championships to the organization.
right, right,
So your personal feelings about a player should be put to the side. Look at your numbers and your stat sheet. But their agenda was more important than what the player does. And we see the results of that. Now we can't predict that Anthony Davis was going to,
get hurt.
uh
Ky-
get hurt
Kyrie
and
got
Kyrie,
Kyrie got hurt right away. I mean, it was just like
yeah,
wow,
it's
they
it's
were
it's part of the game, but we didn't think that it was gonna happen like that. And then with because I thought they were gonna be good with AD, Clay, and Kyrie. I was like, that's a pretty good lineup with their bench.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
and injuries are part of the game, and maybe they can regroup next year and try to get something going.
I
But
think
I
with a
think it was
healthy,
all a shocker. I think it
yeah,
was a shocker with the Luca trade. I think it took the Byron Scott. Not Byron Scott. um, Mavericks head coach. It's on
Yeah.
the tip of
Okay.
my tongue. I just can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't. I just can't say it. But we all know. We all know. And I apologize, Army, for not knowing. But that's okay. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't. It won't come out as they would say. But in
Yeah.
any event,
Everybody was super surprised. I mean, it was, and
mhm.
you're, and I believe you're right.
Jason
I
Kidd.
believe Jason Kidd. Yeah. And I believe you're right. I think it was probably about ego.
Yeah.
And the team is really collapsed. There was a lot of rumors when the lady bought the Mavs. The rumor was,
Hmm.
she owns the Sands
Hmm.
casino. So then it was like, maybe Texas is going to get gambling and she's going to open a casino. And I was like, but yeah, okay. I mean, it sounds pretty good.
Hmm.
But now they're saying that dismantling the team, making it a loser, and then taking it to Vegas. Because
Ah,
Vegas
because
wants
Vegas
all.
wants a team.
So
Vegas wants a team.
that's where they're, and so that, but that's just, it's all hearsay. But yeah, the
Hmm.
Mavs have fallen apart. Just just bad. I mean, like I said, they're short, um, and they're in 11th place. Wouldn't be surprised if they finished in 13th place, underneath.
Mm.
I mean, they're Utah. Utah is 16 and 56, so they're not going to be there. And New Orleans is 19 and 53. There's another team that is in disarray. Um,
Yeah.
I feel
They really
bad.
need some basketball people in the
Yeah,
building to run that team.
yeah. I mean, they had AD. They got rid of AD,
Hmm.
and then they got the next number one, Zion. You know what I mean? It was like, wow, just
Yeah.
kind of, and nothing really. And they had some decent years with AD, right? They had
Yeah.
some
Because they
decent.
had AD and Boogie Cousins on the same
Yeah, they
team.
did. They sure did.
And
They sure
AD, and
did.
that's why AD doesn't like to play center because he never had to. He was
Right.
that big, he was that long power forward that can finesse and get his forwards, get his points, get his mid-range jumpers out. And he's got Boogie to do all the dirty work.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right. It was a perfect setup. Um,
Hmm.
and so I don't know. Like I said, they're, but they're not the only ones. There's a lot of, I hate to call them trash can fires. I mean, you could go from Utah, New Orleans. The Spurs are still.
Hmm.
You know what? The thing about the Spurs is, I think I really think they're up to something. I think they're waiting for the right opportunity to go
Hmm.
bam, bam, bam. Okay, now we got a superstar. We do have a superstar. All right.
Hmm.
And I think it's almost like they're just waiting for the perfect opportunity. Like, who do we want? And then they're gonna make a huge money acquisition. And that's just my opinion, because to me, San Antonio for 20 years they won 5 championships.
Hmm.
They went to the play. I mean, they went to the finals. I don't know, 9 times, won 5 out of 9.
Hmm.
That was a dynasty of a team. They were nothing to play with.
Right. They're
Um,
definitely a part of the dynasty talk. Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. They're definitely. But it's weird because San Antonio is a huge city, but it's not a major. It's not. I don't know. It seemed like it never got. And they've had some Georgia Gervin, the Iceman. They've had some stuff. I
Hmm.
mean, it's unbelievable. Um, but it's where they're at. And then but you could say the same about the Clippers and the Sacramento Kings. Even when
Hmm.
Sacramento was making a little bit of a run, their games always come on really late. You know what I mean? You got
Right.
to really be a follower. And it's the same with the Dodgers. The Dodgers games come on at 9 or 10 o'clock at night sometimes.
Right.
I mean, people here and then from us behind us to up, going back. They're not watching them games.
They're
It's
not
it's
watching
11
that.
o'clock. Yeah, it's 11
Yeah,
o'clock
it's 11
there.
o'clock at night.
Yeah,
They're watching the news. They're not watching
yeah, they're about to go to
they're
bed.
watching the
So
news. They're not,
yeah,
yeah, they're about to go to bed. They're
yeah.
not watching no games.
But your central is, it's easiest one.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Central
easiest
over.
one to
Yeah.
watch. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's going to be. And then you got the Warriors, which I really believe in my heart. Steph's got 2 more years. I think it's this year and next year, and I think he's out.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
he's got 4,000 threes. Um, I mean, he's got 3 or 4 championships. He's got 3 or 4. He's got 4, I think. Yeah,
Got
he's
four. The
got 4.
one with
Yeah,
KD.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah, he got
mean,
four.
ain't really much else there to do. I mean, really,
Right.
there's really not. Um, and Green's getting older. I mean, Jimmy buckets. I hate that he came later, but I mean, he definitely. I hope Jimmy. Whatever happens, I hope Jimmy ends up somewhere that he gets him one, because I hated to see him. He worked really hard in Miami, and they
Yeah.
didn't really seem
Yeah.
to put anything around him to win but maybe he'll end up somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we're looking back at. I'm trying to look at and now is still a good time to bet futures on who's going to win the NBA title. You can still get some good
Mm-hmm.
numbers. Obviously, Oklahoma is heavily favored, um,
Right.
but don't forget this: they still got to win. You know what I mean? They still got to play
Mm-hmm.
the game. Um, and then we have seen them go on a cold streak before, and it takes them. You know what I mean? So there is opportunity for Houston, the Nuggets, the Lakers to beat them. But you're definitely
Mm-hmm.
going to have to. The only thing that scares me about the Lakers and Oklahoma is I think the Lakers would try to get into a shooting contest with very little defense,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that could be it could work, but it probably won't. You know, what I mean, it's like,
Because your shot is not on as much.
right, and
Your
to
shot
see,
has to be on every game, and they do play games where their shot is not there. And when it's not there, when the shots are not there, especially from their two stars, they're going to
yeah,
lose their game.
yeah, yeah, and then Denver plays that rough and tough. They got the big. You know what I mean? They you know what I mean, they're gonna bang you out. Them in Oklahoma could be a very interesting physical
Yes.
and same with the Rockets. You know what I mean? It could go.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some different playing, because if you watch Oklahoma, I mean, they're not that's not how they play. They shoot a lot of threes. They
Mm-hmm.
will grab, they do grab. They're not like you watch the NBA now, and if there was one guy that would just go, I'm going to get all the rebounds, he could, because there's not a lot of effort. Most people are going,
Right.
you know what I mean?
They're
Like, oh, I
perimeter
missed
players
that.
now.
He gets, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, well, he's like, I think you could have got that. But yes, and so I don't know. It's going to be some really cool matchups. Like I said, we're about two. I think we're about 2 weeks away
Mm-hmm.
from a starting, and we got Major League Baseball coming back. It starts,
Absolutely.
yeah. We got opening day. We're going to be going into the hockey play. We got hockey playoffs, but this is still one of those times of year after you got the racetrack. Um,
Mm-hmm.
After March Madness, it kind of there's some lulls there. You know what I mean? You got the
Yeah.
basketball, and it
Mm-hmm.
seems like with the basketball, they have stretched it out on purpose. The playoffs, like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, you play Monday and then you play Friday. Okay, which is
Right.
cool because it captures. Yeah, it's just riding and out. Otherwise, if they
Mm-hmm.
play,
Building
back
up
in
the
the day,
anticipation.
yeah, yes,
Right.
yeah. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're already game 3. Why do that? Let it
Mm-hmm.
roll over a little so we can get these prime time spots. Um, and get, like I said, kind of go from there. All right, guys, we got a little time left. Like I said, if you are interested in anything about the show or KM Radio, advertisement, being a sponsor, or if you have any other stuff,
All of
they
us.
do. Yeah. But yes, I just want to thank everyone. Like I said, give us a call 318-221-5422. Call the radio station. You have an event, want to advertise, want to be part of the crew. I don't know. Maybe you need a job. Call the station. They may have something for you. Want to thank everyone with our KM family, everybody at the at the at the home office. And don't forget to make sure you mention Tony G and Big Lou everywhere you go, man. You need to get some more sponsors. All right, guys. Cam Radio, press the button, listen to us. Go to YouTube TV, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Greatest station in the world, Cam Radio, where we go ham.
And,
Cold. It got cold.